Teen hacker exposes police corruption. 24 hours later, they show up at his door. Everyone in the precinct laughed when 17-year-old Leo, a quiet intern who fixed the printers, suggested he could trace the dirty money. Detective Miller, a decorated veteran with a shadowy reputation, told him to stick to fetching coffee. But when Leo accessed a server he wasn't supposed to, the data he pulled made his blood run cold. No one was prepared for what he revealed. Before we start, like this video and comment "Justice for Leo" if you support the underdog. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories. Now let's begin. There's a certain sound a server makes when it's hiding a secret. It's not a hum or a whir. It's a silence, a void where data should be. 17-year-old Leo Vance knew that silence. He heard it every day from his corner desk at the 12th precinct, where he fixed paper jams and reset passwords. He was a ghost in the machine until the day the machine whispered back, and what it told him would unravel everything. 24 hours after he uncovered the truth, they showed up at his door. This is not a story about a hacker. This is a story about a boy who listened when everyone else chose to look away. Leo's world was a tapestry of code and quiet observation. His life was a rhythm of school, then his internship, then home to a small apartment where he lived with his mom. His kingdom was his bedroom, a sanctuary of glowing monitors and tangled cables. He didn't have friends. He had firewalls. He didn't have conversations. He had algorithms. His father, a beat cop killed in the line of duty years ago, had left him with two things: a profound respect for badge and a deep, quiet understanding that the world wasn't always just. Leo believed the system could be fixed. He believed in the truth. He just didn't know yet how deeply the system would fight to protect its lives. It started with the jewelry store heists. 3 in a month. Clean, professional, no leads. The precinct was buzzing, a hive of frustration. The lead detective, a man named Miller with a grip, like a vice and eyes that had seen too much compromise, was running in circles. Leo watched it all from his desk, absorbing the tension. One afternoon, he overheard Miller on the phone, his voice low, tense. The money's clean, untraceable. It's like they're ghosts. A cold feeling settled in Leo's gut. He'd been studying cryptocurrency for a project, the way it moves, the way it can be laundered through mixing services. He gathered his courage, walked over to the huddle of detectives. "Detective Miller? Sir, the blockchain is public. If it's crypto, we could analyze the transaction graph. The mixers aren't perfect. There's always a pattern." Miller turned slowly, a predator noticing a gnat. The room went quiet. "The printer boy is giving us lessons now?" He sneered. The other detectives chuckled. "You stick to your cartoons, kid. We'll handle the real police work." The humiliation was a physical blow, but the injustice was worse. He knew he was right. He knew the answer was in the data, and they were too proud, or too something else, to see it. That night, the silence in his room was deafening. He couldn't unsee Miller's smirk. He couldn't unhear the dismissal. This wasn't about pride anymore. It was about his father's badge. It was about the truth. His spark wasn't a gun. It was a terminal window. He wrote a Python script, a beautiful, elegant thing. It didn't hack. It asked questions of the public blockchain. It traced the flow of digital currency from the heist through a series of Tumblr services, looking for the tiny, inevitable leak, a transaction that clustered with others from the same owner. Hours bled into each other. The script returned nothing. Dead ends. Then a hit, a tiny test transaction of a few cents, sent to the thief's wallet hours before the first heist. His heart hammered against his ribs. The IP address wasn't masked. It was sloppy. It was arrogant. He ran a trace route. The result flashed on his screen. White text on black. A verdict. The IP belonged to the city's municipal network. Specifically, to the 12th precinct. The blood drained from his face. This was bigger than he thought. He cross-referenced the transaction timestamps with the precinct's patrol logs, a public database. The final, large payment was received by the thief's wallet at 2:14 a.m. At 2:11 a.m., a patrol car that was supposed to be 3 blocks from the last jewelry store was mysteriously rerouted to a false alarm across town. The proof was a perfect, digital map of corruption. It wasn't a ghost. It was a cop. He didn't sleep. He went to school the next day in a daze. He had to tell someone. He couldn't go to Miller. He went straight to the captain, his laptop trembling in his hands. He laid it all out, the code, the blockchain trail, the IP address, the patrol logs. The captain's face went from skepticism to grim understanding. He called Miller into his office. When Miller saw Leo on his laptop, his face didn't show shock. It showed cold, calculated rage. This kid's a fantasist, Miller spat. He's hacking into police systems. He should be arrested. But the captain had already called in a tech unit. The evidence was undeniable. Miller was placed under arrest right there in the office, his hands cupped behind his back. As they let him out, he locked eyes with Leo. There was no plea, no remorse, just a promise. "You have no idea what you just started," he whispered. The twist came an hour later. The tech unit dug deeper. The crypto wasn't just going to Miller. It was being split. A portion was funneled into a shell corporation, and from there to a private account. The name on the account made the captain physically recoil. It was a city councilman, a man who oversaw the police budget. Leo hadn't just exposed a dirty cop. He had pulled a thread on a suit of corruption that went to the very top. 24 hours later, the black SUV arrived at Leo's apartment. Two men in crisp, serious suits got out. His mother answered the door, her face pale with fear. Leo's first thought was that they were here for him, that the councilman had sent them. The man at the door flashed a badge. Not police, FBI, Cybercrimes Division. Leo Vance. The agent said, his voice calm, devoid of judgment. "We've been building a case on Councilman Davies for 2 years. We could never get a warrant for the internal data you just handed us." They offered him protection. They offered him a future. Not as a cop, but as a consultant, a truth seeker. The news stories that followed credited an ongoing federal investigation. Leo's name was never mentioned. There was no parade. Miller and the councilman were arrested, but the system itself remained bruised and wary. Leo still goes to school. He still fixes printers. But sometimes late at night, he gets an encrypted message from a secure server. A puzzle, a knot of data that needs untangling. He doesn't do it for them. He does it for the silence in the data. He does it for the truth that is always there, waiting for someone patient enough and brave enough to listen. They thought the system was made of badges and guns. They were wrong. It's made of ones and zeros. And the truth has a way of writing itself into the code, no matter how hard you try to delete it. If you believe that one person with a laptop can change the world, like this video, subscribe to Digital Detective and share this story. Comment below, what crime would you solve with hacking skills?